How's it going? This is Black Apino, and today I'm doing another tutorial. This time I'm going to be talking really quick about iCloud, iCloud storage, what you can do with it, how it can help you, and just give you a quick run through, sort of, and how you can find out how much space you have in your iCloud. That way you'll know what you can add, what you have, what's taking up the majority of the space, and what you can do to relieve some of that space on your iCloud so that you can have more space available to add other things such as more photos or videos. So as you know, um, iCloud was, I believe, was started, I believe, with iOS 9. I believe it's when iCloud first was available. I think it might be iOS 8 or 6, one of the two, I forget. But basically, what iCloud is a virtual storage for your Apple devices. So you start off, anyone who has an Apple device, if you've never had iTunes before, when you create an account, you get 5 gigs of iCloud storage. Basically, it's just virtual storage for your Apple devices, whether it's your um, iPad, iPhone, or iPod Touch, if you still have one of those. And basically, what that allows you to do is it allows you to save space on your phone or Apple device by storing it securely in an on cloud server. So, say you take a lot of photos and you want to save them, but you're afraid you might lose them on your phone. What you would use is you'd use iCloud, and you would basically use it as your backup storage for your photos in the event that your Apple device was ever lost or stolen or you broke it. So basically, I'm going to kind of go through a quick settings of what you can expect when you with iCloud and how it's evolved from a couple upgrade or iOS upgrades to the current iOS 11. So what we're going to do is this is my iPhone 7, and this is a 32 gig version. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you exactly being what is being used storage wise on my phone, and then I'll go into the iCloud and show you what's being used on that. Now, I don't want you to get this confused with the Time Machine backup. Time Machine backup is completely different from iCloud backup. Your Time Machine is basically used as a backup for your Apple computers, whether you have an iMac, a MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, or whatever. That's separate from iCloud that you use for storing and backing up your iPhone or your iPad. So as I said, we're going to go into my settings, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go down to my general. Then as you can see at the bottom, it'll say, as you scroll through it, it'll say iPhone storage. This is basically this is the part where you select that shows you exactly what's being taking up storage on your iPhone. As I said before, I mentioned I have a 32 gig, so we click on iStorage, and as you can see, 32 gigs used. 23.4 gigabytes of 32 gigs is being used on my phone. And as you can see, it kind of gives you kind of like a graph on what's being used on the phone as well as what is being used app-wise. So as you can see, the apps take up the majority of my storage. Then there's my photos, media, book, whatever books I have, and then other, which I haven't exactly figured out what other is exactly yet. And then it gives you recommendations on what you can use to relieve some of that excess usage. And as you can see, it's giving me a recommendation on reviewing large attachments, save up to 70.4 megabytes, see photos, videos, and attachments, taking up storage and messages, and consider deleting them. So as you can see, it gives me basically kind of a rundown of what I have currently that's kind of taking up some space on my iCloud, although I'm not too worried about it because the largest file I've got is a 7.1 megabyte, which isn't really a lot. But then as you can see down, it has my photos taking up 5.72 gigs. Obviously, the last time I had it was December 10th, which was 2 days ago. So as you can see, that is the documents and data. It's basically showing me the amount of storage that's being used up on my phone, and unfortunately, I cannot get rid of that. Then I got my Instagram. It basically just kind of shows you the app size and the documents. And basically what it means by data, documents and data is when you take photos or whatever on your Instagram and you save, and it just basically just stay on your Instagram, that's basically what's taking up a majority of the space on your phone as well. It's not a lot, it just depends on how much you Instagram. And then it gives you a choice of either deleting the app, which basically deletes everything, the app and everything, or offloading the app, which basically means that you can offload the app, not delete it. It just takes it off your phone, but still saves everything that you had currently on it. And then if you want to download it again, then you can just go back into the apps portion of the iPhone in the App Store and re-download the app, and basically everything that was on there before you uploaded it will still be on there. This just kind of gives you basically a kind of synopsis of what is basically taking up space on your phone, which on previous iOS updates it did not do that. This one it kind of does, which I kind of like. And in that retrospective, that's what you have on your phone. Now, as far as iCloud, that is something different. As you can see, we exit out of general, go up to the very top where you have your Apple ID, iCloud, iTunes, App Store. You select that, and then as you see, the first thing it's going to show is iCloud, and then your iTunes and App Store, and then setting up, and then basically down here, this basically shows everything that I'm using that is being used with my iCloud, my iPhone that I'm currently using, my Apple Watch, my iPad, and my iMac, which again is separate from iCloud. It's basically using basically using a different backup. So it's Time Machine, which is not the same thing as your iCloud storage for your phone. It's something separate. So we will select my iCloud, and again, it's the same. This is the same graph that basically shows for your phone, but in this case, it shows your iCloud. So when you first start out with iCloud, it will give you 5 gigs of free storage, and that's for everything that you have that you will store in iCloud, whether it's your backups for your phones and your iPads, as well as your photos and anything else that would require you to use iCloud backup. As you can see, my photos is using iCloud. Again, I can basically disable that, and it will automatically upload everything that I have in my iCloud onto my phone. Again, I've got a 32 gig phone. So if I've got 5 gigs worth of photos, almost 6 gigs, then everything that I had that I'm currently using will be basically stuffed onto my phone. So as you can see, I'm using 23 gigs. So if I add 6 gigs to that, you add 23 to the 6, I really wouldn't have enough space on my phone to add all those photos. So it's a good thing to actually keep your iCloud photos enabled. So every time you take photos, even if you delete it off your phone, it's just deleted off your phone and anything else that accesses your iCloud. That doesn't mean that the phone is completely deleted. It just means that if you want to look at it again, you just access it via your photos, and then you can download it again if you want to, or just basically look at it as it's on the cloud. So as you can see, I'm using 50 gigs of storage. So basically, I upgraded from the standard 5 to the 50 gigs. And I highly recommend that you might want to update to a higher storage capacity, because if you have an iPhone and you have an iPad and they're both basically sharing the same iCloud account, all your backups are being used by that 5 gigs. So you either would have to sometimes delete some of the apps you have on your phone or on your iPad to manage that 5 gigs, or you would just upgrade. And you can do that this way. As you can see, it says manage storage. You would select that. And as you can see, it gives you upgrade storage. Basically gives you upstage ability to upgrade. So as you can see, I'm currently using 50 gigs for $1 a month. Now, if I needed to go more than that, then I could do 200 gigs. And as you can see, that can be shared by everybody who is using an Apple device. So say you're buying an Apple iPad for a friend or a relative, and you want to share iCloud storage space, then you can do that with the 200 gigs for $2.99 a month, or the 2 terabyte for $10 a month. And if for some reason you no longer need to use the share family option anymore, you just don't want to need 200 gigs because you don't need it anymore, there is an option to downgrade that down to the next tier. So say you've got a 2 terabyte and you're sharing it with your families, and say your relatives no longer need that because they want to set up their own iCloud or iTunes account, then you hit the downgrade option and you go from 2 terabytes to the 200 gigabytes. which would give you only instead of paying 10, you're paying $3 a month. And basically, the good thing about this is that you do not need to use your credit card to pay for these amounts. You can basically use iTunes cards that you can buy basically anywhere that sells iTunes cards. They come in 15, 25, 50, 100, $30 packs, $40 packs, and you can use those as payment for your iCloud account. Basically, what you're doing when you're setting it up with an iCloud or your credit card is say basically you don't want to use your you say you don't want to use iTunes account for that. Then basically you would be charging your credit card or debit card $9 a month to do that. So it's a lot easier just to do it the iTunes way. Say you get like a $15 iTunes card, add that to your iTunes account, and basically just keep track of how much you've got in an account, and be aware that it's going to take $1 a month for every month that you are using the iCloud storage. So that's a benefit of using iCloud storage, is that in many ways it can save you from having to worry about if you say you have an iPhone and your iPhone craps on you, or your computer craps on you. Basically, anything that you've stored on your computer that you didn't allow with iCloud. So basically, what I mean is that say you decide in iTunes you want to opt out of saving all your information into the cloud because you don't trust it or you feel it's unsecure, and you choose in the iTunes option to back up your phone onto your computer. Now, say you do a backup on your computer, today is the 12th, and then your iPhone or your computer crashes on you, say 3 days from now. Anything that you currently had on that phone up until the 12th will be saved into the iCloud. Now, if it was on your computer and you backed it up solely on your computer, then the last thing that will be saved on your iPhone is whenever you decide to switch from saving from iCloud to your computer. So, say you decided to say you were saving everything on your iCloud account up until today, and then you decide to start doing everything on your computer, and you start adding some apps that you like and all that. Again, keep in mind everything that you had backed up to your iCloud from your phone will be kept to the latest date, which would be the 12th. Anything beyond that will be lost. So say your iPhone dies on you, say the 13th or the 14th, then anything you had prior to that will be saved, that you had on your iCloud will be saved up to the 12th. So any documents, any notes, anything like that that you don't have iCloud enabled, that you don't enable, will be lost. So it's a good thing to really keep your iCloud account open in case something were to happen. With Macs, it's a lot easier than it is with Windows. You might have to go through a few steps to make sure that even if you don't want to use iCloud, you have it on another cloud storage device like, say, Microsoft OneNote or Evernote or Dropbox. But keep in mind, that's only going to be for your documents. As far as your iPhone itself being backed up, everything you had prior to that will be lost. So unless you enable iCloud to at least keep a backup of your phone, then you don't have to worry about it. Again, it doesn't really cost a lot to do the 50 gig storage plan. Again, as I showed you, it's only $1. So you can basically go out to any store, Walmart, Target, or whatever, get a $15 iTunes account, set up with your iTunes, and then use that basically as your backup for both your Apple devices. Like, say you have an iPhone and an iPad, like I have. I used 50 gigs to store up all of that. But as you can see, the backups do not take up as much as my photos do. As you can see where it says backup, I would basically select that, and this basically shows exactly what's taking up for backups. As you can see, my iPhone is only using 2.8 gigs of backup storage, and my iPad only 1.1, because I don't have that many apps on my iPad. So in retrospective, it does make sense to at least upgrade to the 50 gig. That way it can help you manage your storage in case something were to happen to your phone and you were to lose all that information and you would have to go to the Apple store. And basically they would ask you, did you save it up in your backup? Did you back up to the iCloud? No, I didn't. Well, then you're just out of luck because there's nothing they can do. They can't retrieve that. So it's always good to have alternative backups in case something were to happen to your computer, or if you're switching from one Apple device to the next. Say you get you upgrade from an iPhone 6 to an iPhone 7 or a 10, then everything that you had that was previously stored on that will be stored in the cloud, and basically all you're doing is just restoring it from one phone to the next. So that's basically what iCloud is in a nutshell. iCloud and the options that you can use and why you might want to use that. And again, it helps as far as storing your photos. So you take a lot of photos with your phone. You don't have to go and buy another external device to do that. You basically would just store it all in the iCloud, and you can upgrade, or you can always revert back to a previous one if you don't need that much storage, and it's not going to do anything other than change whatever you're current paying for to the next to a different paying system. And again, you can go out and buy iTunes Cloud or iTunes cards, and you can use those as payments. You don't have to use your credit card to continue the payments for that. Again, you can use iTunes cards, and it will literally pay for everything, including in-app purchases for apps. And it's also very good that way you don't have to worry about where these miscellaneous charges come up on your phone or on your credit card. Say you got a $5 here, a dollar there, a dollar here, $1.29 for music. You just take it all off of iTunes, and basically that makes it a lot easier. So again, that's kind of a brief synopsis of how you can save space on your iPhone. That way you can add more stuff without having to worry about, do I have enough space on my phone? As you can see, if you want to know what that is, you would just basically swipe down to General, iCloud Storage, and then it gives you recommendations on how you can relieve some of that space if you need to add more. And then, as you can see, it shows you on your phone what your current phone storage is and what's currently being used, and then the apps that are currently using up space on your phone. So again, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as I will be putting up more content as Apple devices become more and more mainstream as far as what you can do, and more people who have never used any of these options, you can kind of get like a brief, again, synopsis of how you can use this, how that'll benefit you, and how you can share it with other friends so that they